I wish I could just watch someone's what I ate in a day and not be like, oh my God, have I, like your thoughts start to spiral from that. And it all comes down to comparison.
Now, for most of us, social media plays a big part in our everyday lives. But how consciously are we consuming and creating content? And how often are we considering the unintended impacts of social media content on our body image? Butterfly Foundation and Instagram have brought together a few of my favorite creators to have this conversation and to play a game. The rules, none of you have seen these cards. You're each going to take one and we are going to talk body image, social media, and well-being. I'm joined by Lucy Neville, Mark Mariano, Riley Hempson, Cooper Chapman, and Milo Hartill. And I'm April Helene Horton.
When you come across content relating to fitness and exercise, how does this make you feel? Do you think this content can be problematic? This is interesting. I'm currently training for a 100-kilometer ultra marathon, so I've been posting weekly updates.
Same.
So I might be the person. I mean, for me, it makes me inspired. I feel like I've come from a professional athlete background, so that is a lot of the content that I consume is people doing exercise content because that's the sort of realm that I'm in. For me, I understand that it can be super inspiring, but if you're doing fitness content, there shouldn't be any editing to make it look like you're fitter or stronger than you are, because then it's an unachievable thing for people.
Yeah, I got a DM from a strength and conditioning coach, and it said, I help people lose weight and gain muscle and achieve their dream body. How about you do my 12-week program? And if you achieve your dream body, maybe you could post a story. And I was like, what makes you think I'm not living in my dream body right now? What makes you think I have a dream body? Like this language around body is so crazy. I'm just living in a body. And I actually already exercise, but thanks so much for assuming that I don't, but I exercise for mental health, for physical health.
What I eat in a day videos are simply harmless content. Agree or disagree? The reason why it's harmful is because of diet culture, right?
Yeah.
Like if you never grew up dieting and having this pressure to become slim, then it wouldn't be harmful.
I think this is a really good example of like how thin and fat creators are treated. I think, if a thin person were to post like, typically unhealthy foods, no one would say a word. And then a fat person would post the same content, maybe eat out, eat junk food, and suddenly they're the worst human being on the planet. What can we actually eat? What are fat people allowed to eat on the internet?
The what I eat in a days that go really viral, there's a huge element of privilege in it with the expense of these healthy powders. And I just wish I could go back and tell myself, who was really sucked in by this kind of content, that if you have a question about your health, that is a question for you and your doctor, not you and an influencer that you follow. I wish that I could go back and just give myself a hug. I don't have to eat like someone else. I don't have to look like someone else. There are functions on pretty much every social media platform where you can say that you're not interested in a kind of content, and I would encourage people to actively use that.
No, I love it. I love the features where you can just click not interested. When I click not interested on Instagram, I feel like such a diva. Not interested, sorry.
Powerful.
Do you think that sharing fitness vlogs or before and after content progress videos can inspire people? On the other hand, how can this type of content negatively affect us? When fat phobia and thinness and anti-fat bias are like what we all know and what is accepted and what is just like the way things are perceived and put out, and as a viewer how it feels to be fed information, it's hard to not see fitness content as a you are big, you are not fit, therefore you are bad.
Think back to when you first started creating content. How did social media make you feel about your body then compared to where you are now? The best thing about the last few years especially is seeing so many different bodies on my feed all the time, but that comes down to me curating my feed to look like that. When I started creating content, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna post hot photos because that's what the creators post. That's what they want to see. And then it was in COVID times, and I was like, I'm just gonna start posting how I actually am, and I noticed my community grew.
I started creating content from a weight loss point of view, and I had been fat all my life, but I had this whole thing in my head of like, I am gonna be so successful if I get skinny, like, and unstoppable. Like, that was in my head. Like, I genuinely thought I would be a better person and more successful, which is so wild to me. And like, I hate that those words coming out of my mouth, but that was what it was. I lost weight and I was posting before and afters and what I ate in a day and all the things that we're saying like, no, right now. And I was still the same person. I had the same friends that loved me. I had the same values, and I was like, this isn't what it was cracked up to be in my head. And through that journey, my followers that had followed me and my community for the weight loss, lots of them had come along that journey with me and gone like, actually, yeah, this is so true. Like, what are we doing? Over the years, I've realized that I want to move my body because it makes me feel good, and I want to eat things in moderation. And my lifestyle and mindset has changed.
Looking back, have you ever posted potentially harmful content, and what would you do differently now? Maybe I have. I guess looking back, I've always been an athlete. I've always been in the shape that I've been in and haven't really had the consciousness of, I guess, the representation of people in this room today. I've kind of looked and thought of my followers as people who maybe look and feel and see the world through the same lens as me, and maybe to people who don't look like me would find some of the stuff that I post triggering because, you know, I post a photo with my shirt off with a few of my friends with six packs, and then it's the stuff that goes viral, so you kind of push to post more stuff like that, whereas that's, not what life's about. It's not about likes and clicks, it's about, hey, how does other people feel when they see that content?
What Instagram tools can creators use to support themselves from viewing potentially harmful content? What tools have helped you? The block button, very liberally used. I feel like as well, remember that this is your space. Like, this is your community. You set the rules, you set the boundaries. If someone is not playing by your rules and they're not respecting your boundaries, they don't get to be there.
I love a restrict.
Oh, restrict
as
is gorgeous.
Because don't they still write the comments and they're the only one that can see it, and they think they ate? They think they ate and no one else can see it. I love that. And mute.
Oh, mama, I love the mute button. If Sally from accounts is yapping, the mute button is there.
Oh, the mute button is
slapping.
All right, syndicated immediately. What does creating consciously mean to you?
My community is why I do this as a job, so keeping them front of mind whenever I'm making content.
I think to create consciously is to have a strong sense of self. Be really secure in who you are and love parts of who you are and all of who you are. So many communities have been empowered through social media, and we've been given so much voice and space. I want to lean into more content that is vulnerable, self-loving, and imperfect.
Showing up as raw, real, making someone laugh, and then making someone feel seen and heard, I think is a big thing for me.
Not trying to leave anybody out or feel like anyone's being victimized by your content. It's important to make sure that it's authentic and it's actually you, and like we've spoken in this conversation quite a lot, it's not fake, it's not something that is an inaccurate representation of what you are. That's what being conscious is.
Because I know that people look at how I do things and it can affect how somebody lives their day. I really want to create with the consciousness of like myself when I was 14, myself when I first started watching TV, my sister who is 11 and what she sees and what I would feel proud to know that I have influenced her doing.
Well, now it's time to exit the chat. I think we've all learned something today about conscious creation and being more mindful with what we consume online. If you'd like to enter the chat and find out more about supporting your body image and conscious creation, follow @The Butterfly Foundation for more.